What's going on, everybody? Little lunchtime check-in, little fruit and some beef jerky today. It's been a slow day. I was not feeling well when I woke up. Just didn't feel like getting motivated. So finally around 3 o'clock, I kind of coming over here to the storage unit. You get to thinking different spots in your life and different things in your life. There's a difference between stating obvious and stating the facts and complaining, right? I was labeled a complainer by everybody. I don't really complain. Whatever, it is what it is. If something sucks, I'm going to say it sucks. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to drag my feet and be like, oh, it's not that bad, or they're trying. No. If something sucks, I'm going to say it sucks. Currently, the PGA Tour schedule sucks. The fact that the last major is done by July, we're still sitting here talking about Ryder Cup picks and not knowing who's coming and who's not coming, who's playing well, who's not playing well. They're going to blame it on LIV and they're going to blame it on all these things, but it's not. It's just people don't stick up for themselves. The schedule sucks. The majors are done by fucking July. To have 3 majors in April, May, and June is just ridiculous. And nobody says anything because it's all about money. And they're like, oh, they don't want to fight the TV. They don't want to go against the NFL. No, I get it. But when it's putting out a shitty product, then you fucking reevaluate. And they haven't. We have a net tournament for the Tour Championship. I mean, think about that. We got a guy starting ahead of the field. And everybody else starting on different levels. We're a PGA Tour, the highest level of golf in the world. And we're playing a net championship to determine the Tour Championship. It just makes no sense. Literally World Series. You get a team from Rhode Island fucking battling 2-2 game in the bottom of the 6th, 2 outs, runners on second and third, and the 11 man in the lineup comes to the plate. Are you fucking kidding me? Have we gotten that soft and that much of a everybody gets a trophy situation? Looking back at my life and things and situations that we got into and things that I've said and done, and there's times where I cross the line and it's uncalled for and there's been booze involved or whatever, but those are usually the times that I apologize. When I'm right and I go on a rant and somebody tries to talk me down or disrespects me, the rant's going to get worse. It's not going to get better, and I'm not going to apologize. Until fucking Dumb and Dumber come to me and say, John, you were right, we're never going to talk. I'm never going to stop. Bob the Builder can go be Bob the Builder over at his other club in Lakeville and kill more greens. I posted a picture on social media today of a good core and a bad core, and it got me thinking. I ask any one of the members at my former club, when's the last time that you saw light gray around the lining of the hole? Never. It's just a mud pit because they haven't punched and they don't top dress. So if they were smart, the weather looks amazing next week for growing grass. They would punch Monday right after the women's 4-ball as big a holes as possible, as deep a core as possible, and fill them all with sand. Use fertilizer to get them back. They'll be back in 2 weeks this time of year, and you'll be ready to go. But they won't, because they probably have tournaments scheduled, and they'll say, we can't afford to lose that revenue. So they'll wait till October. Then they'll punch the holes won't close. And then come March, when the weather is iffy and grass is just starting to grow, they won't maintain the fact that only Poa is growing, and all those holes will get filled with Poa. They just make the same mistake over and over and over again because they use cost and the lack of knowledge from our club to make that happen. But again, I don't really care anymore. I'm not a member there, so I just said our club, I know. But again, it's a place that I grew up caddying. I've spent hours on that wall between 1990 and 1992 waiting for a loop. I've also spent hours on the bag for Scully and Paulie in the 4-ball. And by the time I was in high school and I could beat them, the advice became useful. And I was actually caddying for them. So again, I have a ton of memories at that place. And to see it turn into what it's turning into now and watch Dumb and Dumber just running into the ground is just sad. If they were smart, they'd do deep holes, sand, and they'd overseed with like a 007 or something, an aggressive type of grass that'll fight the Poa. But they won't. They'll just use cost and timing and say, we needle time, we have that already planned. That's what they'll do. And you guys will have okay greens in the fall, but they could be the best greens in the state if they punched in deep cord. So again, once greens pop back from punching, it's amazing how much better they roll. But unfortunately, they'll find a way to say, we don't have time, there's no cost, blah, blah, blah. They'll make all kinds of excuses. They'll wait till after the wing ding, and then they'll punch, and then they won't come back. So, again, I don't mean to come over here and rant. I'm just on one today. I'm just, you know, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm not even motivated to hit balls anymore. Just golfed out. I thought the podcast, there's just so much bad golf content that I thought the podcast would kind of remotivate and re-energize me, and it hasn't. It's done the opposite. It's just pissed me off even more. You know, you start hearing stuff about your past and things that went a certain way, and now I know why it went that way. You know, I'm not gonna bash my ex. I could go on for days with stories of disrespectful shit that she pulled, but I'm not her. I'm not gonna show everybody. You know, she would text me in October asking details, so I knew she was sitting in the golf shop talking shit. I just didn't realize she was sitting in the golf shop talking shit with the new guy she was fucking. So, whatever, it is what it is. I'm not gonna trash anybody, but it's just, you start going through things, and yeah, the emotions come up, and the anger kind of comes to the surface. That's why I went to UFC by myself the other night. You know, I just wanted to get the fuck out of the house, and I knew none of my friends would spend the money on that, so fuck it. I went by myself, and I did it big. Yeah, I met people that were up there, but even then, I said hello to them and kept walking, and then I made friends with the guys in the suite. But when the fight was over, I did the Irish slide and slid out the way I do. It's just who I am. I just don't like people. I don't want to be around people. If I am around people, I want it to be in a large setting, and I hate my personal life being public. You know, I never told anybody any of the stories about her, you know, the embarrassing shit, the funny shit, the mean shit. You know, I kept to myself, and she would always say, you can't tell anybody about that. And I'm like, why the fuck would I tell anybody about that? But now, after the fact that I see she was telling everything, she couldn't wait to badmouth me. So that's why, you know, she was accusing me of cheating and stuff. I would give her my phone. Go ahead. I had nothing to hide. I don't have anything to hide from anybody. I'm an open book, and I tell it like it is. And if you don't like it, leave, and that's fine, but leave. You know, I saw a quote today that made so much sense. You know, I was chasing after somebody that was running away as fast as they could, but would keep looking back to make sure you were still there. And once Bogey died, I was in such a bad place that any type of companionship seemed positive, and it's not. You know, I'm good by myself. You know, I'm starting to find my routines again. It's what I do. It's who I am. You know, you also see other posts on social media that everybody needs. I forget what his name was, but Blake. Everybody needs a Blake. You know, a single friend that just don't give a fuck, that keeps things entertaining. The problem in our relationship, when I would be funny and goofy, she would tell me I was high. When she would be funny and goofy, I would laugh like you're supposed to, and she'd say, why are you laughing at me? You're so mean. So, again, there was nothing I could do ever to get things right or be right, or, you know, we'd be out in public, and she'd start talking about my bank account and speeding tickets and this, that, and the other thing, and I'd finally just look at her and be like, will you shut the fuck up? And then people would yell at me and tell me I'm the bad guy. You know, time and place, right? You want to sit down in the living room and have a conversation about my finances and my new business and my speeding tickets and whatever it is that I do. That's fine. Don't do it at a fucking bar in front of a full group of people. She just loved to throw me under the bus. Dinners at her parents' house were like, I was told not to talk, and then as soon as I get there, I get asked a million questions, and if I don't answer them thoroughly, I was wrong. So it just, you know, it's all good now. You look back on it and you realize how crazy she truly was, but she's never going to admit it. Anytime I tried to talk about her and tell her that the things she was saying to me were killing me and breaking me, she told me I just needed to be better, and she was going to do what she had to do. So, that's life, right? That's what I deal with every day. That's kind of how it was with my job. You know, I had 6 great years at Harmon. When it was time to go, it was time to go. You can talk shit all you want about my attitude. You know, I expect perfection. I want a level of service that has to be sustained. When you start making ridiculous, careless mistakes, yes, I'm going to get on you for it. And if it's the 10th time, I'm really going to get on you for it. And when I tell you fat ass to get the fuck off the chair and get behind the counter, get out of the office and get behind the counter. There's nothing worse than walking into a golf course and having nobody there in the shop or in the restaurant or in the bar. So for all the people that bitched about how bad I was as a boss, you didn't hear the first 27 times that I said the same topic. So I'm kind of on one right now. We may go on an Angry Golfer rant tonight, full episode. I don't know. I just wanted to come over here and rant. I told a funny story about Memorial Day last year. You know, she didn't invite me to the beach, and I took my anger out on everybody around me, mixing nonstop Bloody Marys and transfusions and a little bit of weed, and it got out of control. I admit it. But I was miserable. By that point, the relationship was over. I hated everyone and I hated everything. I knew I was the most hated person there, and I knew she was only going to exaggerate that fact. So for the last 3 years, if you think I was out of my mind with her, I was so with it. I was completely aware of my situation and how it was going to look if I did anything bad. So I didn't. You know, I didn't look at other girls. I didn't talk to other girls. I never raised my hand. Yeah, once in a while I would raise my voice. She thought I was raising my voice a lot more than I was because my voice is loud and it projects. We got in so many fights where she's like, why are you yelling at me? And I'm like, I'm not even mad. I'm not yelling. Like, I don't understand what you're talking about. And it would just turn into her going off and telling me I was an asshole and I treat her so bad. At the end, I started believing it. Now that I'm starting to come out of myself and out of my shell, I fucking spoiled that girl. Anything she wanted, it was fine. Anything we wanted to do, we did. If I wanted to go to Sox games or whatever, let's go. You want to go? Yes, she was always the first one invited. She used to tell me I don't plan anything fun for her. Well, we used to do shit all the time. All you had to do was speak up and say, let's go do this. And I would say yes. And yeah, I would fucking make sarcastic jokes or whatever. And she's like, you just complain the whole time. No, I'm not complaining. You know I don't like doing it. I agreed to do it. Just like I know you don't like combat fighting. You never watched or went, or, you know, if I wanted to watch a fight, you were somewhere else. So it is what it is. You start looking back, you're seeing stuff that, you know, we weren't meant for each other. You know, I thought we were. The golf and the comments that she would make that I would take, and the shit that I could do and say that she would take, like, it was just, you know, I thought we were just two crazy people that got each other. It's funny, you see my buddy going to a 50 Cent show the other day, and when I brought 50 Cent up to her telling the story about Gino Green, she didn't even know who it was. So it was pulling teeth to get her to do anything old, but yet she always wanted to put me in a situation where I was the oldest guy there. We went to Jillian's, no problem. Go to nightclubs, no problem. Go to bars, yeah, I complain a little bit. I don't like bars that don't have TVs and stuff. I need stimulation to keep my mind off the fact that there's people around me. She just never understood, and she never cooperated. The slob thing, I get it. You know, it's something that I work on every day. I mean, look at the storage unit. It is what it is. I drink a ton of bottled water, so there's always bottles around. When I get high, I get the munchies, so there's always wrappers around. But, you know, every few days I go around and clean it all up, and it is what it is. You know, when she moved in, free, unplanned, unexpected, into a tiny one-bedroom apartment, she would always grill me. When are you going to call a cleaning lady? You said you were going to get a cleaning lady. You said you were going to get a cleaning lady. Then we got to the house, and I'm like, perfect. Let's find a cleaning lady. I don't want a stranger in my house. So it was just nothing I could do was going to win. I held on as long as I could. The relationship was over probably 2 months into it. Right before she left for Thailand, she came. She cooked one night. The dishes weren't done. She texted me while she was working. I knew I wasn't going to see her that night. She said, did you do the dishes? So I just texted back, yes. I knew the dishes were going to get done before I saw her again, or before she came up again. She got out of work and she came up, walked in, used the key. This was before she moved in, but I had already given her a key. Just showed up one day and just started screaming at me because the house wasn't clean. So again, right there, we should have ended it. It was never going to change. It was never going to get better. but 95% of the time it was so good. You know, we were good on the golf course. We had fun until she started playing bad. Then she'd sulk, and it would be my fault. But for the most part, we had fun, and it was my opportunity to not have to find three and take advantage of some of the special places that I had connections at. You know, as I talked this past week, you know, finding people to do things for me is difficult because I don't ask. You know, I had tickets. Being a Patriots season ticket holder, you get early access to certain tickets. You know, I had tickets. I think it was Luke Combs. He was at Gillette. A bunch of my buddies were going. I knew they were going, and I just called them and said, hey, find somebody for these 2 tickets. I just don't want to go. I kind of forgot all about it. It was like last weekend or the weekend before, and we were doing stuff. And by like Thursday, he's like, what time are you planning on getting there? And I'm just like, I just don't want to go. You know, so I gave away the tickets. That's kind of why I don't make plans. I don't buy tickets. Plans get canceled. They always get changed. You know, she grilled me about going skiing with her friends. Obviously, with my legs and my health, going to the top of the fucking mountain and going down as fast as you can is not something that I'm excited to try. But I agreed. I was like, I'll meet you. I'll sit in the lounge and have some beers and hang out. Well, all the friends were in, and then all of a sudden the friend that was playing it was out, and then the trip was canceled. You know, it was another one of those, we never do anything fun. Well, you know, when you make plans all the way in advance, and then they get canceled, and then we're stuck sitting around, I don't want to be the one to have to come up with something to do. So again, that's been my life forever, right? You know, hanging out with Louis and those guys in high school, it was always about what Louis wanted to do. We always went where he wanted, especially once he had the restaurant. So I just didn't care. I was like, all right, I'll go. I'll have fun. But it was never what I wanted to do. You know, he went to a Red Sox game with the Nantucket beer guy. They had good seats. But anytime I wanted to go, he never wanted to go. He doesn't like baseball. So it was like, it was weird. One night he went out to Boston with the Bud rep. When they opened the Bud deck, he met some girl, didn't come home, got stranded. Guess who he called the next day to come to fucking Boston to pick him up? You know, that's me. It's been my life. Just, I'm always the one that just says whatever. But at some point, I just have to kind of do what I want to do, or I'm going to go nuts. So that's what the UFC was the other night. Just getting the fuck out of the house, going to do something fun. But again, it's like golf has gotten so bad, I just don't even want to be involved half the time anymore. The conditions at my former club are terrible. The conditions at the club where I grew up, you got a superintendent that ruins every tournament. It's with hole locations and doesn't listen to anybody, so that tournament's now dead. You got the ladies 4-ball at my former club that I can't even follow the format. There's like 2 flights, 124, 16. Who the fuck knows what's going on at 116 and 18 or something? Now, does the winner come out of each flight, or do they play the 2 winners? Who knows? It's just so dumb. Like, the ideas that people come up with, like, why would you do a satellite tournament at my former club for a 2-weekend, 4-round stroke play tournament? Are you fucking kidding me? It's gotten to the point where tournaments have become more about the other stuff. You know, they can't go bring food out from outside because it's going to cost too much. You know, see all these clubs with the food trucks and all this stuff for their member guests, and then you get the club that I grew up at. It's bad enough they're doing a satellite for a stroke play, but then it's always about, well, we can't have that person come cater it because we have the girl downstairs and we have to take care. All right, if you're gonna do fucking buffet hamburgers and hot dogs and potato salad, just get rid of it and drop the price of the event or up the price of the tea gift. You know, I bet you the lady on Saturday and Sunday with Resi Days, 4 rounds doing lunch and dinner, don't do a meal as part of the tournament. Just let her make money. I guarantee you she makes money. I guarantee you people eat. But you do these bullshit, terrible meals, and then you get to the point where the tournament's so much because you're paying for tea gifts, meals, all this other bullshit, and people stop playing. Let's go back to 4 rounds of golf the way it should be. Put the pins where they're supposed to be. 3 hard, 3 medium, 3 easy. Go to tee times because that's what stroke play should be. Turn the first hole back to the first hole, not that bullshit loop first that they got going now. Oh, we want people to finish at the clubhouse. You had 30 teams and the fucking tournament was over by 10:45 in the morning. What does it matter if you have the clubhouse, the 18th hole in the other clubhouse? Nobody's there watching anyway. It just makes no sense. Let's go back to charging basic. 4 rounds of golf, tournament prizes, and a tee gift. That's it. The meals and everything else, pay for it. Guys want to eat, eat. Guys don't want to eat, don't eat. The fucking tent at CCMB, like, who the fuck wants to sit out in 110-degree weather after playing a 6-hour round? Right? Like, it just makes no sense. Like, so you saw my bill. My bill went like this. My bill was steady. Pretty much $1,500 a month for 5 years. And then all of a sudden they put the tent. When we go play member guests and stuff like that, we'd go to the next restaurant. We'd go sit in air conditioning. Who the hell wants to sit outside in the heat, in 100-degree heat, after playing for 6 hours? It just makes no sense. Everything is about everything but golf, and that's why all these clubs are failing. And if you don't think you're failing, you're out of your mind. I was on the website trying to find the results to the 4-ball. No need for that because they didn't post them. And then you get to the bottom and it says, great new deal for new members. Well, all we heard about all year for the past 3 years was how full you are. It's an initiation fee, this, that, and the other thing. Well, great new deal for great members. Well, guess what? I got some inside info. You got a big flux of exits coming right after the women's 4-ball. So, again, you're just running the place in the ground because you're thinking about everything but the one thing that matters. Golf. You don't have a range. You don't have a pool. You don't have tennis. You have a okay restaurant, but you can't keep a chef because you run the guy out of the place every time. My parents went to a funeral service there yesterday, and it's not even worth getting into it, but they couldn't get a drink for the first hour because they put them out in the tent and then didn't put a bartender out in the tent. It's just laughable. Everything that happens at that place. And you guys keep grouping it up. And oh, he's good. He'll be fine. It'll be fine. Blah, blah, blah. He knows what he's doing. 0 for 2, bud. 2 sets of greens. 2 dead. Let's go.